This podcast was recorded on the land of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Mad About You. We appreciate you tuning in as always. If you're still here, I'm sure you're here to listen to me and not Locke, so...
Imagine laughing at your own joke like 4 seconds in.
The death stare I'm getting from across the room it's...
You already know that I'm the anchor of this pod, so you're my co-captain. You're like the sous chef.
Locke actually said, Jad, do you want to intro the pod? And I reckon he actually did it with like this cheeky smile on his face. I reckon he was trying to catch me, slipping up or something. And
so
now...
You did fantastically.
Yeah, thank you
and
so
you
much.
made a joke that made yourself laugh, so that was a great start for you.
It's a great start to my day.
All right, guys, a bit of a different and fun episode this week. But before we get stuck in, Jad and I did want to have a little conversation about another wild dating story that we heard yesterday from a friend of ours. So we asked them if they had any stories for us, and they immediately said yes. So they had a friend who recently went on 2 dates with separate people in a couple of weeks, and both dates left within 15 minutes of arriving.
It's so crazy.
Which we automatically thought was like pretty wild and like, I don't know, what's this guy done, to make his dates leave straight away? And we said, that's pretty rogue. And then we sort of inquired, we said, what's the deal? Like, why did the girls leave? And he actually said, he doesn't really know. Like, he's not really sure. And I was like, okay, let's dive a little bit deeper. And I said, where do they meet and stuff? And he goes, dating apps, And I went, okay, that's fair enough. And then I said, like, what does he say on his dating app? And my friend said, he does lie about his age. And I said, well, not really like a good basis to start a relationship is lying about your age and then meeting up with someone. So I guess you're essentially catfishing them. But I said, how much does he lie about his age? What's the difference between, reality and number? And he said he's 47 and he says on his dating app that he's 35. So there's a 12-year gap that this guy lies about in his dating apps, goes on dates with women, and then they see, you're looking pretty shady for 35.
You'd figure that out immediately.
Yeah.
You would instantly look at that person and go, it's not even a couple of years, right?
Well, I mean, any amount of years is a lie. So.
But 12... To lie about a 12-year age, it's just...
It's mental.
So odd that you would assume that you'd get away with that.
It's like 33% of your life. Like, it's just... But I understand those women leaving. And it's not even like you're being rude or you... It's... I want to date someone who's 35 and you're not that, so I'm not going to sit here and waste time, So he told me this story and I was like... We were both kind of like, your friend's a bit of an idiot because he's just shooting himself in the foot. And I'm surprised this hasn't happened 100 times in a row. Like 2 seems actually quite like a small number to me. And so that sort of begs the question of like, what should you divulge on your dating app? Like on your dating apps?
The truth, I reckon.
Yeah, the truth's a great start. But as in, what are things do you think that you should tell people? Like if you're divorced, should you tell that? Or like if you've got kids, should you disclose that? Like what should and shouldn't you disclose on a dating app?
I think it's, You
used to use it a lot, remember? Tinder, so...
Yeah, very funny. Dating apps have changed, apparently. I don't use them. But
I hope not.
From what I've seen on like friends apps is that it's all quite different. You used to have a bio and some photos and that was it. Whereas now it like prompts you to answer certain questions about yourself, which I think is probably a good thing. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like if I had kids, I'd probably say something about that on the app because I wouldn't want to, personally wouldn't be interested in meeting someone unless they knew that was a part of my life. Like, I don't want to waste my own time.
Yeah, sure.
That's the thing that I don't understand when people lie on these apps. It's like, you're wasting your own time. It's not just the other person's time. You're not just shooting a shot and hoping for the best and hoping that they, will see past the lies or whatever you're trying to hide. Yeah, you're wasting your own time.
And there's no point building something with someone. Like if you're going to go on 20 dates with this person, not tell them you have kids, for example.
And then tell them.
And then they fall for you and then you go, I got kids. And they go, look, I don't really want kids or I don't want someone else's kids. Then it's just, as you said, a waste of everyone's time.
Yeah,
so,
I think in these scenarios, it's best to be a bit of an open book. And if someone is, barring you from the outset for those things, then they're not going to be the kind of person who is probably going to settle down with you anyway.
All right, so you said 12 years was a huge thing to lie about. What would you be okay with? You went on a date
What
with
would I
someone.
be okay
Yeah,
with?
and they said, look, I've lied about my age. Like, what's the number where you're going home and what's the number where you're going, oh, I'll see how this goes.
I would think any lie would be weird. Because here's the thing, right? 1 to 3 years. Why would you bother? That's my thought process. Why are you bothering lying about such a
Well, I
small
wouldn't
amount
want
of
to
time?
date a 15-year-old, but I might date an 18-year-old. So there you go.
That's weird. Really
No,
weird.
you posed the question. I'm just answering.
Would you date an 18-year-old now? Seriously?
No, I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, that's
I'm not saying
you're
I
about
want
to turn
to.
32. That's
You
sick.
sicko. I'm married with a
That's
kid.
disgusting.
On the way.
Legal, but weird. Yeah, so I think if you're lying about like 1 to 3 years, strange because it seems useless. And then any amount of time after that is weird also because that starts becoming a bit of a distinct difference between, you know, you and another person or you and the life that you've lived, you know? Like a lot can happen in 3 years, right? 4 years.
Yeah, but also I think there's definitely like taboos around ages, you know? Like as in if you said you were
Why?
40 or if you said you were 37, like that just gets viewed differently. So perhaps that's why people are doing it because they just want to be viewed differently or like...
Does it get
it's like
viewed differently?
It's like get a foot in the door. I don't know. Like what... I think so.
Well, I guess there's also... Well, the app cuts you off, right? So if someone's selected a certain age range and you're 1 year over that, it's kicking you out.
Exactly. So that might be
of
why
that
someone might
demographic.
fib about their age just to get into that lower category.
I just want to get in.
Yeah.
I just want to get into that
It's
zone.
not. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do. I'm just saying that's as
Yeah.
in. Would you be okay with that if someone was 41 and they wrote 40 so they could get in the age range of 35 to 40-year-olds? Like on a date, would you go like, "Oh, you're a liar. You're destined for bad things," or would you go, "Oh, I understand what you're doing"?
Well, I'm personally, right, if I'm setting an age range on an app, I'm already giving it a little bit. That's how I'm looking at it. So I'm already going over slightly. I'm like, okay, what's my max? And then I'll give it a couple of years. So if someone's then a year over that extra couple of years, no, I'm not interested. Also, you've lied. I don't like liars. So I don't trust you already from the outset. It's a horrible way to start a relationship.
When you were on Tinder back in the day, what was your age range?
Oh, honey.
How much did you give it?
I don't remember. Depends how I was feeling on the day.
What's this? Sometimes you'd be like, "Oh, I'll go to dinner with a 34-year-old," and then sometimes, "Oh, let's YOLO 22."
Yeah, it depends where I was and, you know, if I was traveling and just interested to
Oh, I
see.
shouldn't have asked this question. I'm actually, let's back out of this one. Well, you keep that to yourself, I reckon. Yeah, so that was our wild dating story for the week and pretty much just an open conversation about dating apps and what you should and shouldn't disclose. Jad and I think you probably should be as honest as possible so you're attracting the right person and someone who actually wants to be with you based on all the, factors in your life that make you who you are. But I don't think that lying about your age by 12 years is going to secure you the bag.
I'd be leaving in 15 minutes too.
Yeah.
Actually, 5 probably.
Yeah, so I'm actually kind of surprised this guy's had any successful dates. But yeah, tip, just be honest.
Let's be honest,
that'll
guys.
be the best start to your dating experience.
Don't lie about 1 year and don't lie about 12.
All right, guys, this week's episode, we are doing a little bit of couples therapy. So
I'm so excited.
yeah, we do it already for a couple hours each day at home, so we thought we'd do it on an app for you guys.
Wait, is it therapy or are we just airing our dirty laundry?
Yeah, I mean, it's fun probably for them to listen to us airing our dirty laundry.
We
but
might leave here broken up.
Little do they know that we have to drive home together and I'll be copping it. So you're welcome, guys, but, I'm taking one for the team.
Just before we get into it, can I just say I love you?
Yeah, I love you too. You're amazing.
I just want to say that. I just want to put it out there. Just remember that, this is all for fun, and
Mine aren't for fun.
we're just going to have a good time.
I'm actually glad we've got a producer here that can sort of listen
got a
and
mediator.
weigh in. Yeah. But this week we are going to be chatting about some of the bad habits of our, other half, better half. And the thing is, we actually haven't brought these up with each other yet. So we decided to write them down in secret and then bring them up on the pod and discuss them sort of openly and honestly so we can get raw and real reactions from each other about some bad habits that Jad and I have. So sit back and relax and enjoy.
I reckon you should kick it off.
No, you kick it off.
No, sweetheart. You can go first.
Okay, fine. I'll do it.
I'll do it.
So when you told me to write a couple down, I actually couldn't write anything because you're perfect.
Oh.
No, so here we go. Let's start. All right, so my first bad habit that Jad has, which really bugs me, and unfortunately I have to deal with it every single day because it happens in a location that we are every single day, which is the bedroom.
Okay.
Now,
where are you going with this?
Well, it's not sexual. Just relax.
Oh, all right.
You can annoy me in the bedroom and it not be naked. So pretty much Jad and I, whenever we get into bed at the very end of the day, we have a little snuggle. Jad sort of lies on my chest and falls asleep, you know, and it's beautiful. And it's honestly my favorite part of the day, the initial stage of that. But once it gets to about a couple of minutes and you're in that stage where you're relaxing and you're dozing off and it's, it's peaceful and it's quiet. Jad has this thing where she breathes really heavily with her mouth. And it's not, it's this weird thing. And I'll try and do it for you guys through a mic so you have an idea. But imagine this, like it's lying on your chest. So it's kind of like it's emanating towards your cheek and ear.
I'm actually on your shoulder.
And
that's why it's so loud.
And I just think to myself, I go, why are you breathing like that? Like I'm lying there and I'm breathing silently.
I'll tell you why.
Get to sleep. No, I'm talking still. Let me have my moment. So she does this thing where she breathes super heavily and I just don't get it. And it's kind of just off-putting for me. Like I have to sometimes turn my head away because not only am I getting the noise, which is bugging the heck out of me, but I also just get this like sort of moist, wet patch on the side of my cheek. And she obviously doesn't care because she's dozing off and having a great time. But yeah, it's not the nicest. And let me just add one more thing about the bed before you weigh in and try to justify yourself.
Okay.
But she also does this thing where we're relaxed and it's a couple minutes in and you're in that state where you're almost dozing off and then she'll just do some wild jolty movement and it literally reminds me it reminds me of like the Home Alone parents when they're getting out of the bed, when they forgot the alarm and they fucking jump out of bed and they kick off the sheets. And Jad does this and I think she just forgets that like I'm close to sleeping, like I'm almost dozed off, and I get that maybe you have to go to the bathroom or you've got a niggle with your arm or something, but she jumps off and she whacks the doona and then she'll announce what she's doing. She'll go, I've got to go to the bathroom, my bladder won't be able to do this for another 8 hours. And I'm like, you're fine to go to the toilet without telling me. Like you don't have to announce it. And also when you're getting out of bed, just get out quietly and softly and just know that I might be asleep. No, just wait. Just get out, just think, this person's asleep. Like, pretend I'm like a baby. You don't want to wake me. So just get out like a baby. Softly, quietly, do like subtle, gentle movements, and then go to the toilet. And also, just keep it to yourself. If you need to go to the toilet, that's fine. It's information I don't need.
Sorry.
So that's one of Jad's most annoying habits, guys.
I really wish I took notes because I'd like to rebut half of them on, like, I need palm cards for this. I feel like I'm back on the debating team.
Start.
Okay, firstly.
I'm confused. How do you... it happens.
I need to explain everything. The heavy breathing, I'm doing that on purpose because I'm doing my deep breaths, right, to try to get into sleepy mode. So I'm intentionally going, I'm trying to do my meditative breathing. So that's me trying to get to sleep, right? Firstly.
Can you save that when you flip over? Like, let's just have a cuddle then. And then when you flip over to your comfy side, which you actually fall asleep on, do it then.
I'm trying to get sleepy. Okay, secondly, the jolting. Are you serious? You've almost knocked me out in your sleep because you have the largest twitches I've ever seen in my whole life, to the point where you actually did elbow me in the head a couple of times when we first started dating. So, guys, Locke sleeps with his arm above his head. I couldn't tell you why. It looks so uncomfortable. But occasionally he'll bring it down with such force that I reckon, he looks like a WWE wrestler. And I've been knocked over the head with that elbow before. So I find it really ironic that he's sitting here talking about me twitching or having intense movements in the middle of the night.
Yeah, but I'll tell you the difference between that. I'm asleep when I do mine. It's unconscious. So you can't get mad at me about doing something unconsciously. Mine
is just me rolling over.
When you're throwing the doona up and you're shuffling around, you can't get comfy and you're doing all your movements, you're awake, you're conscious.
I'm trying to get
there's
comfy.
The difference.
Well, okay. Also, me announcing what I'm doing is because I know half the time when I get up, you're going to say, "Are you all right? Are you okay?" Locke does this thing.
Wait, why am I British?
You ask if I'm okay. Or every time I go to the toilet, "You okay? You all right?" Yes, I just need to empty my bladder again. So that's why I feel the need to announce it now, preemptively.
Yeah, but me going, "Are you okay?" and then you going, yes is very different to, I can't do this. I've got to go to the toilet. I've got to release my bladder.
That's also just me being heaps pregnant and going to the toilet 6 times every night at this point.
Yeah, all I'm saying is don't announce it each time.
All right.
That's all I'm saying.
We'll try that out tonight.
Yeah.
What else did I have to rebut? There was one more thing. Can you remind me what you said?
No, if you can't rebut it, then it can't be that serious. It's okay just work on this. Pretend I'm like a baby.
Noted. Other than that, I kind of get where you're coming from, so I'll take it into account. But for the most part, I am just really pregnant, very uncomfortable, and very grunty and breathy. Thing.
This is not. You've been doing this for years. It's not like I understand.
Not the wee thing.
No, the announcing and the jolty movements.
No, I don't announce that I need to go to the toilet
and creating a wet patch on my cheek. Yeah,
that's fair enough. I'm sorry about that. I'll try to keep it cool. Cool breath.
All right. What do you got for me?
All right. Let's talk about Locke. Well, mine's one that you know I hate, actually. So this won't come as news to you. But I need to preemptively say that he has gotten much better with this one over time. But Locke's a picker. I feel like we all know a picker. Could you
just clarify, not nose picker?
No, fingers and toes. And actually anything that will scab over or that raises on the skin, Locke will pick it. And he's been doing this since we met, and it's bugged the crap out of me. And now I've actually told him that I wouldn't have a child with him until he stopped picking. But now it's stretched out. So I've fallen pregnant, obviously can't
it was a weird one, wasn't it?
Can't really undo that. But I've said, okay, well, now you've got, 9 months to stop picking, because I don't want our child to pick, because, it can happen. But, kids just copy what they see. So I don't want to end up with a kid that's got bloody fingers all the time. And Locke has gone a lot better. I'm looking at his fingers right now, and they look really good. So I'm very, very impressed with him. But he is still... I will look over to him in bed. He'll be in the weirdest position you've ever seen. This man's really surprisingly flexible. His foot's up next to his face and he's doing something with his toe in bed, and he thinks that I don't know. And I look over and I see that he's in this slightly weird position, and there's the blanket is just raising ever so slightly, just with this motion. It's like a and the blanket's coming up. It's raising up little bit. And I look at him and I go, what are you doing? And he does this every time. He goes, scratching. I'm scratching. And I go, are you scratching or picking? And he goes, scratching. And then he shuffles his foot back down to the end of the bed, and he tells me that he was scratching the whole time. He's riddled in mozzie bites, this man, but you can't see any of them, and they disappear immediately after he scratched them.
Yeah, I am a picker, and I'll admit it, but my whole family are pickers. And I'm not saying it's a good thing.
That doesn't mean
I'm not
it's
justifying
that
it.
Yeah.
But I anxiously pick. So when I'm anxious, I pick. And it's what I've done.
Are you just anxious when we're watching a nice film in bed together?
If it's a thriller, for sure.
No, if we'll be watching a rom-com, you're sitting there, you're going ham.
Yeah, because I'm anxious about how bad it is.
We're sitting there playing a game or relaxing or hanging out, you're sitting there picking.
Yeah, I do pick habitually, but I also pick when I'm anxious. It's an anxious thing. And I have tried to stop it, and I think that I've done well, but then there'll also be times where my hands will look good, I've grown my nails out, and then something will happen. I remember we were at I think it was at your mum's recently, and you guys were having a bit of a disagreement about something, and it was in another room, and I was sitting in the other room by myself, sitting on the couch, and then I just started picking because it was anxious, anxiety inducing for me. And then you guys finished the conversation and we left, and I looked at my hands and I was like, holy jeepers. So I don't notice that I do it sometimes, but then I also, it's just habitual. I'm in bed and I'm just doing something, but I'm also sometimes scratching, but sometimes I'm not. But the other day you actually got angry at me when I told the truth.
Because I was adamant that you weren't telling the truth.
All right, guys. So we do this thing where I massage Jad's hand. I'll show the camera where I kind of do this thing to her hand.
He's pinching.
Just rub.
For those of you who can't see, we pinch the areas of around the palm, sort of. It's like a massage.
And I was doing that on my own foot in bed, and Jad called me out and she goes, are you picking? And I said, no, I'm actually just doing that pinch thing that we do on our hands on my foot.
No, you said scratching.
Fiddling.
Lie. You said scratching.
Okay, scratching, but I didn't want to describe what I was doing to her. But I wasn't picking. And then I said that I wasn't picking, And then she went, okay. And she went back to doing what she was doing. And the chick didn't look at me for 40 minutes. Like, and I tried to hold her hand and I tried to do things. And then I literally paused the movie that we were watching. And I said, what's wrong? I said, what has happened here? Like, have I done something to upset you? And she goes, well, I asked you if you were picking and you said no, and I don't believe you. And I went, but I wasn't doing it. So I've told the truth, and now I'm in trouble about something that I didn't even do.
Can I
just know that these habits can get you in trouble even when you're not doing them.
No, that's a pregnancy thing.
What, being unreasonable?
No, serious. Yes, honestly, I was just like extra frustrated for no reason, and I'd convinced myself I'd spiraled into this thought process of he's lying to you, and so I got myself all worked up. But that's pregnancy related because I've just been a little bit hormonal recently, and I'm sorry, sweetie.
Yeah. But I admit it is a bad habit, but one that I'm trying to kick. And yeah, I understand that it's frustrating and
it's
to
mainly
continuously
just
ask me to do
I don't like
something.
seeing you hurt yourself.
I'm fine, but so if it's that, don't worry about it.
Okay, all right.
I understand the kid though, because, you know, I've seen friends and stuff who are pickers and you look at their kids' hands and they're literally torn to shreds and the kids pick that.
And
so,
the
like,
kid
I
doesn't have the ability to stop. Like, kids don't know how to break habits, you know, so...
Yeah, they're little sponges and they pick up what you do. So I understand that and I'm trying to kick it. But if you know, do less anxiety-inducing things, I might do it less as well.
All right, I'll give it a go.
All right.
That's it. That's my first one.
All right, I appreciate it. Okay, my next one that I think is a bad habit of Jad's is that she is sometimes, she better now in pregnancy, I'll admit, but she was a serial putter-offerer. So she would...
procrastinator.
Yeah, but she would, you know, when it came to... not the enjoyable tasks of life. So your works and your things that you have to get done, or they start building up and making, you know, life more difficult for yourself. Jad does quite regularly convince herself that I can put them off today and I've got some time tomorrow to do them. So I'll put them off and I'll do them all tomorrow and I'll just enjoy myself this afternoon, or, you know, I won't put that pressure on myself. And then it will come to the next day and the tasks have accumulated and she has yesterday's tasks and today's tasks. And then there's, you know, more problems with the business or things that she has to do that she hasn't thought of. And then the tasks get more daunting and then she spirals into this like stressed, you know, state where she then can't do anything because it's too stressful. So she's not done the things yesterday and now she can't do the things today because there's too much to do. And so it's like this bad habit of putting things off and putting yourself into this state of stress, which then you can't function in at all. But it's also something that we have spoken about, you know, and Jad has mentioned, which I don't know, maybe you can explain it to our listeners, but you said that you even think that perhaps you're addicted to that feeling. Well,
yeah, because I saw this video recently and it spoke about having an addiction to stress. And I was like, that's really interesting. I'm going to like look into this. And I read about it a bit more and it's a chemical release in your body. I can't remember what it was, but your body releases a chemical.
Yeah, we got there.
Yeah, and you essentially like you start looking for that. And I was worried that I was stuck in this negative feedback loop where I was making myself stressed and then becoming addicted to it. Because I do. Locke's right. I have this issue where I put things off until it gets really, really bad. I've done it my whole life since school. It gets really bad and then I freak out about it and I feel like I can't do any of it. And I have got a bit more of a handle on it now, I feel like.
Yeah, as I said, it's definitely different in pregnancy. Like you've kicked it a little bit, but it still exists. It
is still there and it's better than it used to be. Like, for example, I had I was the kind of person who didn't fold any of their clothes. It would all end up on the floor. Makeup would be everywhere. Like, I just lived in a mess. But now I try to keep things tidy because I know that if my space overwhelms me, everything else overwhelms me. So, like, that's gotten a lot better. And I try to stay on top of my work and I try to get it done when I have time. But, yeah, occasionally there'll be days or weeks where everything lands on the same timeline and just the thought of doing it all overwhelms me immediately and stresses me. So I just avoid it and then I avoid it and then I avoid it. And then a day comes where it's all kind of already, you know, dancing on overdue and I have a freak out and I'm like, I can't do any of it. And then I call people and I'm like, I can't do this. And then, and then I have to deal with it all the next day when I've calmed down a little bit. And then once I deal with it all, I'm like, why was I stressed? Why was I freaking out over that? That was fine. And I kind of remind myself, which I need to do more so in the moment, that it's just like, it's my life that I'm living. It's not tasks that I have to do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've explained it to you 100 times. Yeah.
It's just
I'm wanting you to know what you mean.
And it's not a bad thing. And I said this to Locke recently. I was like, I don't actually not enjoy, for example, cleaning the bathroom. I don't clean the bathroom and go, oh, I hate this. This is really bothering me. When I'm doing it, it actually is quite therapeutic and enjoyable. And then afterwards I go, oh, that's really lovely. Everything looks really nice. I feel really happy about it. But for some reason, I've convinced myself that I don't want to do it, even though I have no problem doing it at the time. But yeah, I do agree that it is a bad habit of mine, and it can cause me to, stress out, and I'm sure that affects you in terms of our environment. We're both in the same space, and I'm freaking out, running around like a headless chook and probably crying or something.
We're also just quite different in the fact that, it's sometimes hard for me to appreciate that side when I'm the polar opposite. Like I'm the chip away at things every day and never let them build up because I don't like that feeling. Whereas I feel like that's kind of a lesson that you haven't quite learnt yet. Like, as in, you've experienced it, but it's never got so bad that you've gone, okay, I really need to kick this, because it builds up, it's stressed, and then we talk you into, understanding that you can conquer whatever hills in front of you. And then you do, and then you go, okay, well, it's fine. I can do that again because I get to a stage where I can still conquer it, Whereas, I don't like even experiencing that feeling, so I don't let things get to that. But,
Locke's a doer. I'm a procrastinator and Locke's a doer. And I'm trying to be more like him, but that's one thing I've always admired about him. He just gets things done immediately. Like, he'll get an email, he'll deal with it straight away. I get an email, I'm like, I'll circle back. Yeah. I love a circle
4
back.
weeks later. But then the funny thing about that is, that's the thing that I think is funny. But if you send a work email and the person doesn't get back quickly, you're like, what are they doing? And I'm like, you can't expect them to do something if you're not going to do it yourself.
No, it depends on the situation.
No, it's just a principle thing. Okay. Like, as in, if you're allowing yourself 4 days to get back to something, you have to extend that courtesy to others. That's how it works. You have to treat others how you want to be treated.
Yeah,
so you
but
can't expect
what if I was having a mentee B?
And you just assume they're having a mentee B.
All right, fair enough.
Oh, glad we solved that one on the pod as well. Sheepers. But yeah, it's more so the state that it gets you into, I think, is a bad state.
Yes.
And that's why I think it's a bad habit that you need to fix. It's not that, procrastinating, everyone does it. Yeah. Like, everyone likes to put off the bad tasks. But it's like, when it gets you into that state, which inhibits you from literally living your life, I don't like to see that. So.
I agree. Thank you for your honesty. I appreciate it.
No worries, homie.
I'll do my best to nut that one out. I won't have a choice. We're going to have a baby. If things don't get done, they just don't get done.
I actually wrote down something that it's from someone that you really like listening to. So I'll read it out to you.
Oh, okay.
It's from Stephen Bartlett.
Oh, yeah?
It's a guy you like listening to. And he says, that lesson will repeat itself until you learn it. And so you're going to keep... So true. It is true, but you have to sit in it and think about it and go, I'm just going to keep experiencing this until I learn that, it's not what I want. So, yeah. Think about it.
Change doesn't come without change.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful.
I like that.
Weird, though, because yours was like, I expect change even though I don't want to change.
Sometimes I've just been very lucky. Like, things have just fallen into my lap sometimes, and, issues have just disappeared without me having to deal with them.
Yeah, it's because I solved them for you.
Okay.
So you stop crying. All right, what do you got for me?
Yeah, let's talk shit about you.
That's not talking shit about you.
Okay, I've got a semi-serious one too, actually.
No, that one was full serious.
Yeah,
it wasn't semi-serious.
Mine's fully serious also. Locke has this problem where if he believes he's right, he can't let something go. And he will argue his point to the death of the conversation, even if there's no clear resolution that's coming. No one's going to change their mind to agree with him. He will continue badgering you about this point until he feels that you have somehow slightly changed your opinion of whatever you're believing. He can't let things go if he thinks he's right. That's your bad habit.
Isn't that most people?
No. You are relentless.
You definitely suffer from it as well.
You're deflecting. This is about you.
Okay. What would you like me to say about this?
Whatever you want to say.
All right, bad habit. That if I think I'm right, I don't let up.
Yeah, at all.
Yeah, I think
I think
that is quite a tough thing to do.
No, but even about
Like, I just struggle with it.
really mundane things. Like, we had a full-blown argument the other day because I suggested that Locke might have not filled up the water jug, and he was literally going to fight me to the death on the fact that he didn't leave it half empty, even though I know for a fact that I didn't leave it half. Look at him, he's so I wish you could see his face right now, like he's stressing out. But the thing is, I don't care if I left it half empty, whatever, I'm happy to let the conversation go, but Locke can't let the conversation go. He must argue that he didn't leave the water jug half empty until he feels that it's at a place where he's happy with.
I just don't understand. If I disagree with you, I'm allowed to state that.
Of course you are.
So,
but then state it and
with
end the discussion.
Water the other day, right?
Here we go.
For example, I don't. Guys, we have jugs. We have jugs in the fridge of cold water. I don't drink cold water. I drink from the tap. Jad drinks cold water. And she fills up her drink bottle with it. And she filled up her drink bottle before heading out, and then obviously was in a rush and put it back. And then later in the day went to it and was like, "Look, if you're going to use the water, can you fill it up?" Okay. I was like, "I didn't use the water. I don't even fill it up."
That's not what happened.
She's adamant that she didn't, and I'm adamant that I didn't. And then we're at this bypass, but I for some reason just have to succumb to her way of thinking, or I'm the devil.
No, I just need to bring up that right now you feel the need still to defend yourself about the water jug instead of understanding the point I'm trying to make.
Oh, yeah,
You've gone back to the water jug.
Yeah, because it wasn't me. But that's one thing.
He hasn't let it go this whole time.
I understand what you're saying, but it's probably the one thing about me that I can't control. Like, if someone...
Oh, I know.
If someone calls me a liar and I'm not lying, I feel that, I have to convince them that I'm not lying.
I know.
You know, or that it wasn't me. And I know that that's the thing that I have. Like, I remember it used to happen when I went with, siblings, you know? I was one of 5 kids. And things would go missing in other kids' rooms or things, toys, jumpers, whatever it may be. And my brother, for example, might call me out and go you stole my jumper or you stole my dinosaur. And I'd be like, I didn't do it, and he'd go, you're a liar. And I just, that would make my blood boil.
I know.
Wait, but that's why I'm explaining to you, because it definitely wasn't me. And that's why my blood's boiling.
But the thing is, right, surely as a almost 32-year-old man, you can observe the situation, water jug, for example, and go, I'm coming from your perspective. I know I didn't do it, but I don't care. So surely you go, oh, I'm pretty sure I didn't, but no worries, honey. And then just let it go. That's the issue.
Yeah,
You go, no, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Sure.
No, I didn't.
Sure.
No, I didn't.
That is something I definitely need to work on.
Yes.
I don't disagree with you there.
The
But
bad
let
habit.
me riddle you this. Okay. I'm taking the trash out, right? I'm taking it out. It's got a bit soggy at the bottom. It's broken through. Trash goes all over the kitchen, right? And I look at it and I go, fuck it. I'll just leave it. Jad will get it. And then you come home later and you go, Locke, did you leave all that trash? And I go, no, it wasn't me. Must have been you. And you know it wasn't you, right? You know it wasn't you.
It's absurd.
You know it wasn't you. And you, what would you do? You're not going to go, okay, Locke, yeah, it was me. You're going to go, no, it wasn't me. So that's how I feel in those scenarios.
But you need to understand, right? This is the important part.
This really is turning into couples therapy.
Yeah, it is. That's also how the other person feels. They're just not running to the grave with it. I feel the exact same way you do. I know in my heart that I didn't leave the water jug half empty, right? But I'm not going to go and cause this whole chaos over it because I understand it's just a water jug and who cares? And really, neither of us can prove that the other one did it.
Yeah,
so let's just move on.
My logical mind goes to the probability of the person using the cold water jug or the person not using the cold water jug. Who do you think left it half done? Probably the person that doesn't drink the cold water.
But the point is, it doesn't matter.
Of course it doesn't matter to you because you're not the one getting blamed.
Okay, your bad habit is that you need to learn to let things go. Period.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I don't disagree.
It's going to make your life easier.
It would be nicer. I don't disagree. It's something that I definitely need to work on. But yeah, I'm
just glad to have that come out of your mouth.
Yeah, I mean, it's come out of my mouth plenty of times at home, but you're welcome that I divulged here. But yeah, it's definitely something that happens to me, and I just see red, and I need to convince the person that it wasn't me. But only if it wasn't. If it was me, I'm more than happy to go, yeah, shit, my bad.
Of course, yes, of course you were. But the issue is sometimes someone's going to also think that it wasn't them. And that's when we need to move on.
Oh, sheepers. You guys, I hate to tell you, this chat's going to continue in the car on the way home. So we'll tell you the outcome next week on the pod.
You can't let it go.
Yeah, I do agree that is a bad habit. I'll work on it, my love. All right, guys, the last bad habit I want to bring up about my darling wife is her obsession of being on her phone and whipping out her phone at times where you don't need to whip out your phone, and religiously checking apps on your phone that I know is now simply muscle memory. Like, it is an addiction.
It is.
You know?
It's bad.
It's an addiction where she pulls it out at certain times. And I can even give you an example based in the last hour when we got to the lift in this building and we clicked the lift button, and then she takes out her phone and she opens the 3 apps that she needs to check in the 10 seconds that we're waiting for the lift, you know? And no one needs to do that, but it has become an addiction and a bad habit where she whips out her phone and, you know, religiously checks these apps for no reason, and you really don't need to do that. And I think it kind of takes her out of the real world and puts her into the internet world, which is, you know, it's fine to be there sometimes, but I think when it becomes habitual for literally your hand to reach into your pocket, take out your phone and scroll through these apps at times, I think it takes you away from your real life. And you know, it might happen even when I ask you a question about work or something, or, you know, what time you're meeting your friends in the morning, and you go, oh, let me check. And you'll go and you'll look on your phone, and then I'll ask you what the answer was, and you go, oh, shit, I didn't even look. Like, I just opened 10 different apps on my phone. And sometimes you even do this thing where I'll watch you, and you'll open Instagram, for example, and then you'll open your email, and then you'll open TikTok, and then you'll close them all. And then before locking your phone, you'll reopen them.
I know.
And it's like, you closed it 10 seconds ago because there was nothing, and now you've reopened it. So
it's bad.
It's just this bad habit of feeling the need to check everything on your phone at all times. And I just think it does take you away from reality sometimes.
I don't disagree at all. And you're right, it is habitual. It's literally like a motion that my hand just does. It's like muscle memory, which is really creepy and awful. But yeah, you're right. Like, I'll close the app, and then my finger will just click automatically, and then I've reopened the app that I've just closed, which is so bad. And I do understand that completely, and I apologize for that, because I know that it's a really bad one, and it's not nice to be around. And because I see it in other people occasionally, and I'm like, oh, it's so annoying. Like, I just want to be present with you, and you keep opening your phone, and I'm trying to be mindful of it, but yeah, you're right. Like, I literally did it downstairs when we were waiting for the elevator, and I read a funny Batuta article, and then I started cracking.
She started laughing. I go, what are you laughing at? And she goes, oh, I read this thing. And I was like, you couldn't stand with me at the lift for 10 seconds without opening your phone?
No, it is something that I'm trying to work on and be more conscious of. And you're right, it does take me out of reality. It makes you way less present. And it's scary when you look at your screen time as well. And I think I use work as an excuse. You know, I'm like, well, it's my job. It's my job. I need to be aware of what's going on, and I need to see what trends are on TikTok and this and that. And, you know, that's true to some degree. Sure, like, I need to be aware of, you know, pop culture, but not to the point that I am, not to the degree of scrolling that I do. And yeah, it's gotten worse over time, unfortunately. And yeah, I agree. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this.
Oh, for sure. And this is something that, I brought up because I guarantee this is not just something that you suffer from. A lot of people, and I'm not saying that I don't do this at times as well. Like, as in, I notice something that I do whenever I go to a public bathroom, right? I'll go into the cubicle, and I'll whip out my phone, you know, even if I'm doing a number one, you know, and it's like, for that 20 seconds that I'm doing a pee, it's like, why do I need to look at my phone? But it's like, I did it the first 50 times I ever went to a cubicle with a phone, so now I just do it, you know, and it's like, I don't need to, but, and that is something that, you know, you can recognize and go, okay, I'm going to try to not do that, you know, and it's a simple thing. But I think a funny bit about this as well, which, I mean, whether or not people do this as well, it's something else, but something that you do is Jad perhaps recognizes that this is a thing. So with the apps that she checks regularly and doesn't want to check, she puts timers on them. So as in, you can set, like, you know, you can only use this app for 45 minutes or an hour a day or whatever. And then we'll be in bed and the timer will go off and she'll just go dismiss. And I'll go, what the heck is the point of having the timer if you just dismiss it?
I actually don't even recognise when I press dismiss anymore.
And I say to her, I go, the timer just came up, so shouldn't you get off the app? And she'll go, oh, nah, and just dismiss it. And I'll go, well, why don't you just turn the timer off then? If you're not going to listen to the timer, there's no point in having the timer. It actually probably makes you feel worse about yourself because you're seeing the timer, not adhering to your own standards, and then spending more time on the app, feeling worse, and then going back and going, fuck, I didn't even adhere to the things I wanted to adhere to.
I think I saw the timer and I think I didn't dismiss it once, but I then picked it up like 30 minutes later and used my phone again. But yeah, look, I agree. Terrible habit, awful habit, and I need to work on it. And I absolutely will. And I don't want to be one of those people who have their heads in their phones with, baby around all the time either. So that's a priority for me.
Yeah, you know how I wasn't allowed, you didn't want me picking around the baby?
Yeah.
I don't want you doing that around the baby.
Okay. Around the baby.
Around the baby.
Well, like ever? What if you text me?
Turn around. Don't let him see.
Hide the phone.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
No, we can, we'll figure that out.
We'll work that out.
As we get into having the bub.
We're going to be perfect parents, aren't we? We're not doing anything wrong.
It's going to be tough, but we'll figure it out. All right, hit me with your last one.
Okay. This is a good one.
No, they'll be the judge of that.
It's a good, bad one.
You don't get to say if it's a good one.
Okay. Locke does this thing, and I've asked him to be more conscious of it, but he's not. So I've started having to intervene myself. He doesn't...
That hasn't narrowed it down, guys.
No, I'm about to tell them. I'm just building suspense. He doesn't change his towel over frequently enough. And I just want to clarify, he's not a dirty man. He doesn't use the same towel for 2 weeks. But when he uses a towel, he drenches it. I don't know how. I don't know how his body's holding so much more water than mine is.
Wait, don't you piss on yours?
His towel's drenched. It's like he's taken it into the shower with him. So it doesn't dry, right? It doesn't dry very quickly, which means that after maybe 2 uses, it starts stinking like wet dog because it's not drying. It just stays wet. So it's sitting in the bathroom and it's developing this scent. And as soon as I walk into the bathroom, I can smell it. But Locke has an issue with his nostrils, which I've inspected before, and I feel like he's got deviated septum or something. He can't breathe properly, basically, but he can't smell this towel scent, and it drives me crazy because he will use the towel more than twice, even though I've told him a bunch of times, use the towel twice, chuck it in the laundry, because it's getting
You've got to listen to everything your boss says.
It's getting to the point where even if we wash it, it's still smelly. So he's now ruining these towels.
Oh, I don't believe that.
And you've had running history with towels. Can I just say, the bath towels, he used to tear them. Tear the towels because he would dry his back so aggressively, like the Hulk. He'd stretch the 2 sides of the towel so far open that he would
I'd do that. I'd wrap it around my back and then I'd just try and
he'd rip the middle of the towel. So we have all these towels that are half smelly and half ripped. He just has this ongoing feud with our bath towels. So now what's happening is I'm having to go into his bathroom, give the towel a sniff, and if it's smelly, I put it on the floor because I need to remind him, right? Your towel should be in the laundry, not here where it is. And I'm not putting it in the laundry for him and replacing it with a nice new one because I reckon he won't notice. He would not notice that there's a fresh one there. He'd just continue using it. So I have to make a note of putting it on the floor so he walks in and goes, oh, towel's on the floor. Better put it in the laundry.
Yeah, after one more use. Guys, this is the regime that I live under.
And can I just say, you have many weird issues with towels. I don't know. When we first started dating, he wanted to share...
That one's fine.
...a bath towel. Share a bath towel. Disgusting.
Wait, why?
What do you mean?
You can use it first. I'm not worried.
No, you'd have a used bath towel on the back of your door and I'd go, can I have a towel? I'm about to have a shower. We're first dating, so I don't want to speak up about anything, right? Like, I'm trying to act like I'm really cool.
Thank God you didn't, because if you were trying to get me to use my towels only twice, week 1 of dating, I would have said, brush this shit.
So he's got this probably week-old towel sitting on the door and he'd go, just use mine. And I'd go, okay. And I'd have to take this towel that was wet off the door and go use his already used bath towel at his house to have a shower. That was really mortifying for me because you know me, I'm like a mild germaphobe.
I'm so glad you got through it.
That was really hard. And then the toothbrush as well. Sorry, I've got a few more. He suggested at the start of our relationship, you guys are going to dry gag at this, that we share his toothbrush that he had in his bathroom. Yeah, because
if you don't want to go buy your own, you can use mine.
So I wouldn't have a toothbrush, and he'd go, just use mine. And I'd go,
why
sorry,
haven't you
what?
bought your own?
Well, I didn't know I was staying over.
Not my fault.
Disgusting.
So here's your options. Don't brush your teeth or use mine. You don't have to.
The towel's worse. Like, give me a clean towel.
Oh, yeah, let's jump back to that one then. We won't worry about you not bringing your own toothbrush.
Anyway, so that was my final one.
Okay, well, I fundamentally disagree with washing a towel every 2 uses. I think that's way
I
too
do
few
too,
uses.
but yours start stinking. So what other choice do we have? Put them in the dryer then.
Stop sniffing my towels. I've never once come into... We actually have separate bathrooms that we shower in, guys. We're lucky enough to have 2 bathrooms, and we sort of use them, like his and hers. I've never come into your bathroom and sniffed your towel.
I haven't had to.
No, but I just wouldn't. Even if you wiped your behind with it, I wouldn't go in and sniff it.
Why would you sniff it if I didn't? Why would that make you want to sniff it more?
If I walked into the bathroom, like you said, you walk in and you smell things immediately. Like if I walked in your bathroom and smelt that, I wouldn't go start sniffing your towels.
No,
whatever. You'll get a new towel when you're ready.
No, I'm disagreeing with you entirely. Wholeheartedly, that's not... The solution is for you to change the towel.
Okay, and what I've learned from the last segment is that I should just say, yes, I understand, Jad, and just change my towels.
Yes, change your towels.
Yeah. No, okay.
I've asked you, right? Do you agree?
Yeah, you have.
I have.
Yeah.
I've made it clear. I've said, look, you're making the towel stinky, sweetheart.
Yeah, but I don't agree with that because when you put it in the wash with detergent, it doesn't come out stinky. It comes out smelling like roses.
I'm telling you it does come out stinky. That's the whole problem.
Yeah, but you also told me that you didn't leave the water jug half done, so you just never know. All right, guys, now that we've had our little couples therapy, we're jumping into our favourite segment, which is our Ask Mum and Dad segment. Now, if you did want to ever write in, ask a question, tell us a crazy story, you can do that at madaboutyou@novapodcast.com.au. So we do have one this week, and it's an interesting one. It says, my friend was saying that she has a huge crush on a guy she works with, but she is in a long-term relationship. She was saying that she is still really in love with her partner, but can't get this bloke off her mind. What do you do?
It's
Jad?
obvious.
What is it?
You got to leave your partner.
You leave your partner for the crush?
Well, not necessarily for the crush, but surely that's
what are you doing it for?
Well, surely it's an indication that you're not with the right person.
Because you're crushing on someone else?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's first just define what crush is. Like
you're into them.
Yeah, I feel like crush is you're into them and you want to entertain the idea of being with them.
Yes.
As in, it's not like you work in a workplace and there's a colleague that's attractive and you look at them and you go, they're hot, but I don't want to date them or bonk them. They're attractive. Yeah.
I would be concerned if I met someone and I was feeling, I had a keen interest in exploring something with them. Yeah, I'd be like, well, maybe I'm not with the right person then.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, well, I mean, I spoke with a friend about it.
Yeah.
This already, and his answer was quit. Quit your job.
Quit the job.
Yeah, quit your job. And when he told me, I was kind of like, yeah, I agree with that. But then after thinking about it for a little while, I was like, I don't think that's the answer because it doesn't solve the problem at hand, which is, you're looking elsewhere, which means you're probably not content in your relationship if you're crushing on someone at work. And then it kind of brought me back to realizing that I've actually been in this exact situation.
All right.
Wait, you're the person I was crushing on, you dummy.
Okay. I was like, hang on.
But as in when we met, I was with someone and I was crushing on you.
Yes.
And the right thing to do for me in that scenario was to leave my partner, but not to be with you. It was just to leave my partner because I knew that if I was feeling those things about someone that wasn't my partner, then my partner was definitely not the right person.
Yeah, exactly. You're not just going to quit your job because I'm coming to the bar every weekend.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that would have been the worst idea. So.
Exactly. Because, chances are if you're feeling that about someone else, you might find the same thing at your new job. Are you just going to keep quitting all your jobs?
Yeah, exactly. You'd be fun employed for a long time, I reckon, until you brush your partner.
Yeah, so I think it's just a matter of realising that, you might not be in the right relationship. And, it's hard to come to terms with, but unfortunately that's just how life works sometimes. It just takes another person for you to realise that it's not quite right.
Yeah, and that's fine too. But I think also you'll realise that when you're in the right relationship with the right person, those thoughts don't even come into your mind, or you'll never be in a scenario where you feel that way. And so
even if someone's conventionally attractive.
Yeah, you might see someone that's attractive and that you might have a bit of banter with at work, but as in that's where it ends. It never turns into that sort of flirtatious or you know,
you go home and you
nature.
Think about
like
them.
It's kind of, you're never fantasizing about your life with them. It's just like, you know, Stacey's fun to talk to and she's attractive, but like I can't wait to get home to my partner, you know?
Who's Stacey?
You are sick in the head.
I'd like to meet her.
But yeah, I think with this one, I think it's probably a sign that you're not with the right person. And so I know you said you really still love your partner, but, you know, perhaps it's turned into more of like a platonic love than, you know, wanting to be with this person and for the rest of your life. So
I love, you know, the hot chocolate from Oliver Brown, but I don't want to be with it.
Bit of a weird one. Not a person, but yeah. Jad's analogies, guys, you can see why we have issues at home, because she'll give me analogies like that and that's the hill she's going to die on. It's that analogy. And I'll be like, it's not relevant at all,
I'm just saying
sweetheart.
there are different types of love.
Yeah, I agree. But I just think with this one, you're probably best to leave your partner and then see where things go. You're still crushing on this person, no worries, have a crack, or, you know, perhaps it'll open your eyes up and you'll realize that there are other people out there that you're also crushing on, which will, you know, cement the fact that you've made the right decision. But my take is that if you're crushing on someone, you leave your partner and then you deal with it afterwards.
You could cheat, but we just don't recommend it.
What? That doesn't need to be. We don't need to tell people things we don't recommend. I also don't recommend spying on them. Like, we don't need to say any of those things. Just recommend the thing you want them to do.
All right, ignore that then.
Yeah, sorry about her, guys. She's still getting the hang of this whole podcast thing and, you know, advice bit. Sometimes I think if she hasn't spoken for like 20 seconds, she's like, oh, I need to say something, and just tries to interject anything. So, all right, guys, that's it for another week of Mad About You. We were so happy to have you guys along for our couples therapy session, and
we can't wait to continue in the car on the way home.
Yeah, we'll just set up a camera and keep recording. But if you are enjoying the podcast, it would mean a lot to us if you did leave a review, because that's how people find the pod, see it, and, you know, a pod with no good reviews isn't going to get listened to. So if you did have the time to do that, we'd really appreciate it wherever you're listening to your podcasts. And that's it from us, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you soon.
Bye.